Well, hello everybody. Again, I come before you. Still have to do residential school genocide, day 25, story 25. I'm going to give it this minute to let people log on, and I'm going to address John Carpay, constitutional expert here in Canada, a mentor of mine over the years. He's been in politics. He runs a video today, and I also tag Richard Albert, Canada's leading constitutional expert on the world stage. In fact, he is world renowned. He's in the top list of world constitutional experts. Before I get started on this video, everybody, I'm going to make it clear, and this is for you, Richard. I do want you to watch this video. I want you to look at what's discussed here as I go through John's email, his notion of Canada and the communist USSR and its constitution, its value of rights listed constitutionally in the former Soviet Union for all Soviet citizens, much the same as Canada. And folks, and John, and again, Richard didn't say anything, everybody. I only tagged him. He is not in any premise of this information. I would like him to look at it as a master of constitutions worldwide, master expert on the world stage. High level. Now, folks, John rolls out the USSR, former Soviet Union, communist republic of the Soviet Union, pre-1991, for Russia as it is today. USSR listed many, if not all, the exact same rights as the 1982 Charter, that one-page document, Section B of the 1982 edition. And folks, that 1982 is only 1/3 of your Constitution. 1/3, and does not go into the powers of government, rules of governance, how to govern, and government accountability. That is all found from 1867 all the way to the consolidation of the remaining acts, including the pre-Bill of Rights that still remains in effect in Quebec today. Now, John states, hey, the Charter's a joke. Politicians should be ashamed of it. I agree, John. However, when you went through USSR in its duality class structure, what do I mean by duality class structure of all communist countries in the world today, all communist governments, means they have a pyramid of a divine elite too. It's way up here. And it's literally like a tower, guys. It goes straight down to the ground. Any downtown high-rise will do. And that goes down into the ground, and you have ground level. Upper class, top of the tower, penthouse. Nobody in the tower but the government workers. It's all first class. And then you have the second class, which is every other citizen. And those every other citizens are limited in rights. They have basically the equivalent of the 1982 Charter. They got that in the 20s. And then the government says, oh, but sorry, I'm going to say you have those rights if the party deems it for the benefit of the Communist Party, meaning you don't have any rights at all unless those in the party elected say you do. So in this title, John, and I'm asking you, Richard, to look at it because I have a real problem with just about every lawyer in Canada. And you know, folks, I'm already developing a list, it's about this big, of every lawyer disbarred for not adopting USSR's methodology where the power's in the elected party. You can read by the highest justice in Canada today. I went toe-to-toe with his colleagues because Chief Justice Wagner doesn't talk to miserable sons of bitches like myself, because I'm a no good, third class, waste of skin Canadian. He doesn't have to. Supreme justices all over the EU, including the United States Supreme Court, have given me audience throughout the last 3 years of my most incredible worldwide journey. I have pictures that will blow people away. That's me. That's the Supreme Justice. That's me zooming from my low-life degenerate mobile home talking to a guy who lives in a $12 million palace. Okay? People who know Chief Justice Wagner, some of them have asked me, what is it you want? What do you want? Well, I want what every person of the third class, or most first people: freedom, liberty, self-government, self-determination, i.e. real constitutionalism. Because I'm going to tell you, every first-class lawyer with a Canadian bar is unable to pull from the Constitution or Chief Justice Wagner himself. I just pulled his publication from the Office of Governor General and placed it in the title. Any of you can go grab that. It's right on the Government of Canada's Governor General website, written and updated already a year ago by Chief Justice Wagner, in response to a lot of challenges made mostly by folks like myself, mostly from people who've done things in politics that were said are impossible. Somehow I was able to navigate their first-class system as a low-life degenerate who has no place there. Folks, exactly what John Carpay says about USSR and making it like Canada's converting to that is actually, in fact, exactly what Canada has always been. Always in a day. It's right here in the title, copied from Chief Justice Wagner, Chief Justice of Canada, the highest Supreme Court justice in all of Canada. John says, why do some judges in his video go with the rights of the people and many others don't? Well, John, it's because what was written for USSR was designed from colonial Canada. I call it Canada 1. You ever want to know the truth, John, where your bar oath to the crown comes from? It comes completely from Manchester, London, Manchester, Canada 1. 1867. It's all in black and white. Governor General is the crown of Canada, folks. The federal omnipotent crown that must answer not to the Queen of England, because they've been given those powers. People talk about 1931. They go on and on. But yet in 1952, King George VI signed it all the way officially. You will never find another UK Governor General or any Lieutenant Governors post-1952 via King George VI. Domestic crown absolutely given to whomever you elect Prime Minister, and provincially whomever you elect Premier. They can't pass any bills or acts of Parliament without the seal of the Crown. And that's Lieutenant Governors who are sworn to Governor General, and Governor General is absolutely sworn to Prime Minister. Governor General also appoints your Supreme Court and your Chief Justice by way of whomever you've elected Prime Minister. They decide. Chief Justice Wagner does whatever any Prime Minister tells him to do. Rule of law for Chief Justice Wagner clearly articulated when he was Governor General for 1 year interim, rewrote the whole thing to reflect absolutely what's been written since 1867 in 2/3 of the Canadian Constitution. Folks, that's called real law, real analysis of what your Constitution is, backed up by most all the greatest academics in the world alive and highly published today. They're not going to dispute it, folks. Let's cut the crap. Let's call it for what it is. Communism is nowhere I want to go. But you know what? I live in a crown colonial system under customary law, the unwritten law of the crown, meaning a divine human being, which is your prime minister, which means just like communist USSR that came much after the birth of Canada, adopted a lot of the build of colonial Canada's design, where it's a trick. Here's your charter, have fun with it, but just remember, whomever you elect as officially the Prime Minister of Canada, i.e. that political party, will decide what's best for the state, the country of Canada, and how those rights are going to be processed, no matter what they say, no matter what the Charter promises. Again, folks, we can look at history. I can show you New Zealand. We haven't even gotten started. We're 1/4, 1 out of 4 parts through residential school genocide, all the way to June 28th, 2022, where I'm going to show you legal system on the world stage, that crown of Canada has no business and no place there anymore today. Gone. I'm going to show Canadians and First Peoples, for once in all of your lives, what a low-life, degenerate, third-class citizen can do in real legal speak and in real international law. Win or lose, if the Chiefs report or not, I'm going to prove to all Canadians that this system is cockamamie, and that what you're told over and over and over again by those sworn, because they are the first class, and I'm sorry, John, I'm not attacking you. I just know repeatedly, over and over and over again, any lawyer who breaks their oath to the crown, you can all read the lawyer's oath to the crown. It's much the same as the police and all public sector, even your armed reserves, your army, the CAF. They all have to swear relatively the same crown colonial oath, which is not to defend you, the people of Canada, but to protect the interests of the crown. And folks, since 2012, international for Canada is the royal family. And you know why? Because the Liberals and Conservatives stole the crown in 52. They put it on their head. They've kept 1867 alive. No premiers want to break it because they love raping the living hell out of you. They love it. Look at them. Emergency Measures Act re-cemented by Doug Ford, in complete compliance with all the MPs. It's cross-partisan. Even PPC down with it. All those independent who are with the PPC, all down with it. All of them. They're all garbage. Because they're all sworn to steal, lie, and cheat from you. You don't have a justice system in Canada. You have rules for thee and then rules for me, the first class, which there are no rules. They make them up as they go. Just like the Soviet Union. Except for the fact we have a more of a triangular instead of a straight tower. And in some respects, I can see why a lot of First Peoples will gravitate to communism. They're in the non-human fourth class, a savage human being. Of course you're going to push them into communism. Hey, I get to go up to being just like everybody else. The third class is divided. You get a lot of socialism. They'll go for it because they're slaves right now. We're working slaves. all the tax a corporation fucks up, they go tits up, they get a bailout. Who bails them out? You. You bail them out. They put it on your public debt, a debt you have to service, and you have to pay more taxes to do it. You're not only responsible for your personal finances, you're also responsible for all of the government first class's finances, borrowings you have no say over. You're responsible for all of corporate. It comes upon you and your children, driving you down into further and further subjugation. We are no better than communism. They've just created two classes. It's a two-class structure. It's shit. But folks, we're much older, and we're a four-class structure, where two of those classes, the savage Indian and absolutely all you working Joe Janes, are to be beaten, flogged forever and a day until your lives are garbage. Canada's not getting any better. This is the design of the colonial world, alive and well today in Canada, has not been addressed since its founding in 1867. Lots of con jobs. You're in King's Court, not an independent jurisdiction here with a judiciary. You're not. The Superior and Supreme Court of Canada are not independent judiciaries. They're King's Court. The exact definition, because it's legally rendered to you in the Constitution, portional 2/3 of Canada's 1867 Constitutional Act. It's there, in black and white, in actually legal plain speak. It's legal speak, but it's plain speak, codified. And they're right in your face about it, but your average Canadian, your average first person, can't be bothered to look at it. And Canada laughs at you. They're obligated to share all of this, just as Chief Justice Wagner was obligated to share it with you. But all of you believe, well, the media told me not to worry about it. They're not writing any news stories about it, because they're getting paid by the first class, $10,000 a story, to write the narrative of the Crown. I wouldn't be bragging about Hopper and the Crown. John, I don't know. What don't you get here now? If it's about losing your bar, I get that. But Tristan Hopper is a garbage piece of shit. You might as well call him a commie. Because he is, really. Sorry, folks. What came first, the chicken or egg? The Constitutional Act of Canada, which, for all intents and purposes, folks, you might as well say you're in a communist country with slavery class and then savage human being class. I don't know about you, but when I compare communism to that, I would almost say communism's better, and I don't want nothing to do with that. But yet we just go, no, this is good, I like it. Do you really think people are suffering as bad? You hear about all the genocide, but we're learning about residential school genocide. And that's just the bodies found, and I can tell you right now, 9 different schools, from Catholic Church to Anglican to industrial, and there's even more narratives that I'm not going to be disclosing. That's only from my private group to the chiefs. Way ahead of the curve on this one. Everything we do is cross your T's, dot your I's. We go way beyond what's out there for all of you. And I hope and I pray that come June 28th, 2022, even just one report, one chief, one report is all it takes. It's all it takes. This is a major undertaking, probably the hardest thing I've done in my life. And so too is trying to destroy the Crown. But it's up to all of you. It's up to all of you to stand up against the lies, the manipulations, and clear twists and turns of facts. John, I've always appreciated you, but at some point, like today, watch your video, I gotta say, John, John, Chief Justice Wagner, published on the Canada website for all of Canadians, all First Peoples, clearly tells you that it's Prime Minister who gets to pick those justices. And I hate to tell you this, Chief Justice Wagner was picked by Stephen Harper. So I am sorry, but they're in Canada, just like it was in South Africa, folks. There is no difference between conservative, liberal, NDP, Green, PPC, on and on and on. They all love the crown. Oh, I'll take the crown power. I'll make it a good power for all of you. When do they ever say, hey, let's destroy the crown for once and for all? It's 2022. I don't like the idea of regurgitating genocide and slavery. And they can call it whatever they want in their economic cycle. It is nothing short of pure slavery. And again, you want to hear the connotations. People want to call me racist. I can go through all the connotations. And if you don't know what connotations are, they're spells. They're words with power. And I promise you, those racial terms are power words, connotations. I'm not talking magic. I'm talking about psychological effect. And it does work like magic. That's a reality. Destroys people, destroys lives, destroys societies, ruins them. Like Tina says, disease, dis-ease. You're not at ease. That's how you get diseased. Canada is not at ease. We're diseased. We're infected. When are people going to wake up? When are you going to start calling people out and say, you know what? This narrative that Canada's communist, when forever and a day it's absolutely been a constitutional monarchy. The idea for all religious folks to understand that in this system, your gods are not Jesus from the Bible, or Muhammad from the Quran, or Moses from the Judeans, from the Jews and the Israelites. No, no, no. Those mainstream religions here in Canada, all Old Testament Christians, you can take your book and rip it in half. Because every day that you go along in this system, you give your divinity to another man. And I am sorry, or a woman. It doesn't matter what race you are, but they're first class. You give and transfer that divinity. You go to church or you go to your religious ceremonies and you swear, as all those religions, every Old Testament Christian, over 8,000 Muslims, Jews alike, you all share the 10 Commandments. And what does it say about false idols? But yet, that's the exact system you embrace. Does communism rip away religion? Absolutely. But so, folks, does Canada, when it doesn't work for the political party that's in power, just like communism, because they created it first. You can have your religion. Just remember, your true God is the king. That's Prime Minister and his political party, or her political party, whomever you've elected as a God over you. There's no creator, there's no Jesus, there's no Muhammad, there's none of it. None of it. Just the divinity of that politician. You can have your religion, but just remember the crown. Remember what they are. They are the real gods. Don't ever step on their toes. Remember, you get your rights as long as you breach the 10 Commandments. Just breach the 10 Commandments. Remember, I'm your Lord. I'm your worship. I'm a God over you. Say it to me. Your Highness. Your worship. Your Lord. Never going to get me to do it. People try to criticize it. I've never sworn that oath, and I will never, ever put my faith, my idea of worship into anybody else. Never. Thanks, that's my video. Choose to share, and you know what, Richard? Want to shoot me an email, tell me what you think. Thanks. Bye now.